energy. Talking 42nd Street. Alley hoop finger roll. Ain't nobody checking me. Crossover through the legs. Step back, hit a three. Still up in the hood, but got big baller tendencies. She just trying to get flued out to John Kennedy. Just to see the Knicks play. Make a couple memories. New York, if you ain't from here, don't pretend to be. And if you ain't rocking with the Knicks, you an enemy. Yeah, look at us. Whole city is wild. This is New York. Why y'all ever counted us out? Any game we attend, yeah, we taking it now. Fast break on the court, all up and down. Lead a garden in the pigsty, yeah, we get it on this side. Bacon, egg, and cheese or the lobster mac with the ribeye. Either way, we winning the overtime if we get tired. Get it with the team, yeah, that's just something we live by. Hey, yo, first quarter in, we gon' turn it up. Gotta warm up first, then we taking it dub. By the third quarter in, no, they ain't catching up. Gotta stay in the lead before that shot clock buzz. If the Knicks get a win, we gon' do it again. Make the finals once before, we gon' do it again. Bounce back in the fourth, we gon' do it again. It's been a while since the chip, but we gon' do it again, yeah. Yo, put your hands up. If you rockin' with the Knicks, put your hands up. Yo, put your hands up. If you from New York, put your hands up. Yo, look, put your hands up. If you rockin' with the Knicks, put your hands up. Look, put your hands up. Hey yo, New York City, put your hands up. Sky, baby.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy, Bishop D-Lo, Bishop J-Mac. We're here, you're there. Church Guys post-game show for Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals on this last day of May 2025. The Indiana Pacers knock off the New York Knicks. There will not be a miracle on 34th Street on Monday. Unfortunately, the Knicks go down today in Game 6 by a count of 125 to 108. Kudos to the Indiana Pacers. Kudos to Rick Carlisle, who put on a coaching masterclass this postseason. Who has put on a coaching masterclass this postseason, and particularly in this series, understanding that it was going to take him going 10, sometimes 11 deep, to essentially just do what they do. And they came with the game plan. They executed it, particularly in the second half of this game. Knicks hung around hard in the first half, and then the Pacers clearly made a concerted effort in the third period to get out and run off everything. Made shots, mid shots. They turned up their defensive intensity, got a bunch of turnovers. The Knicks were careless with the ball tonight, to the tune of another game where there were 18 New York Knicks turnovers. 18 Knicks turnovers for 34 Pacer points. That is the game right there. This game was even except for the turnovers and missed free throws. Listen, this is the first game of this series where I'm not even complaining about the officiating. And you know, you guys aren't in our chat, but when I saw who the officials were going to be, I posted in the chat. I said, oh, this is not going to be a physical game. They're not getting away with all that grabbing and holding tonight. And they didn't. The officials were on it tonight. The officials did a great job of making sure the game was called evenly and down the middle. And the Knicks, quite honestly, just choked this series away, starting all the way back in Game 1, losing a 14-point lead in the final 250 of that game, 257 of that game. And then, you know, it just spiraled from there, dropping that second game in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks were behind the 8 ball from the very beginning. This is a very different series if the Knicks win Game 1, because right now we're talking about Game 7 if the Knicks win Game 1. That's the series right there. That is literally the series right there. We are talking about a Game 7 if the Knicks had simply taken care of business and finished up Game 1 strong. 18 turnovers, Keisha. Yes, Keisha, 18 turnovers. Yep, Willie, third quarter. Said Jamel Clark, don't get me started about Tibbs and his coaching. We're going to get into that in a second. Let me go through the nuts and bolts, and then I'm going to let J-Mac roll for a minute. But Mikal Bridges got 9 shots today. He was 6 of 9. Why didn't he get more touches? OG Anunoby was 10 of 18 tonight. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns were a combined 16 of 37 tonight. Towns 8 of 19, Brunson 8 of 18. Cat had 14 rebounds, but then he missed 4 free throws. Brunson, listen, this is a game where the refs did their job, and kudos to Andrew Nembhard, who honestly must have found something because traditionally JB has torched him. Traditionally, JB has torched him. And I hate to say it, J Mac, you might agree with this. The worst thing that could have happened to the Knicks was Aaron Neesmith getting in foul trouble. Because Nembhard did a great job on Brunson being forced into duty. Because that's not the matchup that Rick Carlisle wants. It's not. He wants Neesmith on JB, but JB has solved Neesmith. But Andrew Nembhard did an excellent job on Neesmith tonight. Kudos again to the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton finished with 21 points and 13 assists. I'm not giving him no props. He was horrible in the first half, and quite honestly, Tyrese Halliburton was only able to get going in the second half because the Knicks just lacked the fortitude to be able to get it done in the second half. And I hate to say it, it's the same old story, J Mac. It's tired legs. It was tired legs, not enough usage of the bench. In the third quarter, when the Pacers began to make that run, I said immediately in the chat, go back to your defensive lineup to slow this game back down. Because again, the Knick bench the way to slow the Pacers down is to put a defensive lineup on them. That's all you need to do. That's the way to slow the Pacers down. You slow the Pacers down by putting good, strong defenders at all 5 positions. And you leave Mitchell Robinson out for pretty much the whole fourth quarter. What are you doing? But I'll get on Tibbs in a minute. J-Mac.
This series was lost after game 1. I mean, let's just call it like it is. When the Knicks collapsed and choked game 1 away, this series was over. It was over since then. Listen, I don't pull any punches on this broadcast.
We don't.
I call it like it is.
Absolutely.
They lost the series after game 1. Listen, I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm going to continue to, pull for my team. But the fact of the matter is they choked away game 1. It set the tone. Donald Corey Ballard, I don't know where Butler is. And so I don't know about this convenience and preaching. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But anyway, Tibbs got out coached. And you give credit where credit is due. Thank you, Bishop Butler said he'll be on shortly. You give credit where credit is due. The coach had a great game plan. We didn't. In the fourth quarter, there was a welcome mat put down the lane for Tyrese Halliburton. He shot 4 floaters.
4 floaters in the lane because
from the same exact area because
that drop coverage and Cat has no lateral movement as a defender at all.
Well, he's also hurt too, so I'm not making any excuses.
No. I was going to say to J Mac, that's an absolutely great point. So he already has no lateral movement and he's hobbled, and you don't go back to Mitchell Robinson.
You don't go back to Mitchell Robinson.
What are you doing?
Right, you stay with this guy. When you get it in single digits, you should have a defensive lineup out there. And Tibbs got out coached from top to bottom. By the time he made the adjustments that he needed to make, the series was lost already. The series was done. By the time he started putting in a defensive lineup, he was playing catch up, and it was over. Indiana needed 1 game out of 3 to win. That's a tough chore for any team to try to stop them and get it back. It was bad coaching. I don't even know what the fix is because we're gonna keep Tibbs.
The fix is the coach. That is the fix, but we know it's not going to happen.
It's not.
But quite
everybody
honestly,
that's saying Tibbs gotta go. Let me help y'all. I'm gonna give y'all why he's not. There's 2 reasons why he's not going. He just signed an extension going into this year. That's number 1. Number two, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals a year ahead of schedule. So even next year, if they don't make it this far, he's going to be here another year after that because they got here a year early. So we're stuck with Tibbs at least another 2 years. So
Now,
I just
Ant
want
West,
everybody to know this. So
Ant,
everybody that's calling for Tibbs' job, I'm about down,
no,
Bishop.
no, you
But
good, you good.
but
You good.
everybody that's calling for Tibbs' job on here, you gotta understand. Tibbs is not going anywhere. Y'all gotta stop it. I mean, I'm trying to listen.
If Tibbs
I'm
gets fired, it would be a major upset.
I'm a Knicks fan, true and true. And trust me, I've been calling for Tibbs to get fired before Jalen Brunson got here. I've been wanting Tibbs out of here. The guys can tell you, I left the Knicks because of this guy. I went and said, yo, I can't take this guy out because of Tibbs. He's not going anywhere. Management loves him. The front office loves him. The players love him. They're not getting rid of him. So just everybody, I understand what y'all saying, but I just want y'all to understand there's too many factors that point to the fact that he's not going anywhere. So if we want to get on here and criticize him, let's go at it. We want to talk about what he didn't do, the moves he didn't make, let's go for it. But as for calling for his job, guys, it's not going to happen. He's ahead of schedule. He got to the ECF. He was supposed to get bounced. They were calling for the Knicks to get bounced in round one against Detroit. The talking head said they weren't getting past round one. He went all the way to the final four. Exactly, Jennings. He went further than people expected. So he's not going anywhere, guys. Let's just stop saying it. We want him gone. Everybody on this broadcast, on this show, we want Tibbs gone. Keisha can tell you, I've been calling for this man's job for years. He's not going anywhere. We're going to have to suck it up, and we're going to deal with another year of Tibbs with this. So let's just, if y'all want to put it up in the chat, fine, but I'm letting y'all know it's not happening. It would be a gutsy move if they did it, if the front office did that. It would be gutsy, but I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either. And Ant West firing Leon Rose is not the issue. He has done everything that he put a championship quality roster together. Leon Rose has put together a championship quality roster. But you need the right coach to get that roster over the hump. What needs to happen, since we know that Tibbs is not going anywhere, so I'm not going to be yelling fire Tibbs anymore because he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
But there needs to be
It hurts to even say that. But he's not going anywhere.
But there needs to be a very difficult conversation had. A very difficult conversation needs to be had with him by the front office.
And they need to tell him he's on a short leash if he doesn't use the. Listen, Indiana went 11 deep tonight.
And there need to be, because other than Rick Brunson, what did the other assistant coaches do?
Sit there and watch Tibbs. During the games, at least.
You need somebody that is not afraid, because I see that Rick Brunson is not afraid to challenge him. I firmly believe that I watch Rick Brunson during the course of games get up and go to Tibbs and like, yo, are you not seeing this? We need to do this. We need to do this. Because Tibbs gets into the flow of watching what's going on in the moment and doesn't realize that coaching is about being ahead. You can't coach the moment you're in. I'm a coach, so I can tell you this. As a coach, I'm not coaching the moment I'm in. The only time you can do that is in the final minute or so of a game. But during the flow of a game, when you're coaching the next play. You're thinking about what's going on down the road. You're looking for the matchup that you have to use to get you to the end of the game. As a coach, I'm saying this as a coach now. I played, but also as a coach, that's what I do now. I coach ahead. Tibbs is trying to coach players in the moment.
But Bishop, he doesn't even do that. He coaches to a system. It's his system. He doesn't know how to make in-game adjustments. That's the problem. He coaches to a system. His system And we keep getting on Jalen Brunson, but y'all done got a sample size. This ain't Jalen Brunson dribbling the ball out. This is Tibbs' offense. Dribble the ball, pick and roll, and then let Jalen Brunson make a decision on what he's going to do. He doesn't call any plays. Butler said this all season that they don't practice any offense. You saw it in the playoffs. They don't
And
have no offensive plays.
let me jump on that point as well. Yes, Willie Brunson had 7 turnovers tonight. I saw each one of them happen.
Only
And
five. Only
but
five.
no, he had 5 actual
Credited
turnovers
him
that
with
were
seven,
charged
though.
to him.
They
No, he had
charged him with
five.
seven.
No, there were 5 that were charged to him. There were actually 5. I got the box score here. There were only 5 charged to him, but he had 7 because there were a couple other decisions that they gave it to somebody else. But honestly, it was on JB.
He,
But I'm
he
I'm gonna
should.
tell you.
Go ahead,
I'm
Buck.
gonna
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
go
tell
ahead,
you I'm
Bishop.
gonna tell you why it happened. Because Rick Carlisle watched the game film and solved Jalen Brunson, and Tibbs didn't counter. If I'm looking at a guy do the same thing for 6 straight games, I know exactly what you're going to, because you saw in the second half, they kept pushing our offense out further and further. They were jumping the passing lanes because they knew what was coming. Because it's the same repetitious thing over and over again. Dribble handoff, dribble handoff, dribble handoff. The one time you saw a little bit of a wrinkle was the curl play that they kind of halfway ran for Shamit when he got the 3 in the corner. That was it.
Listen, bro. I watched this series. There was no offensive plays called. Only out of timeouts. That was it. Out of the timeouts was
And
the best
and you know
things we got.
and you know what? He is, and you probably know this, and you didn't think about it, but I'm gonna jog your memory. You know that Tibbs is actually regarded as one of the best offensive guys out of timeouts.
Yeah, I know. And
And
that's
so
what I'm
I'm like,
saying. Tonight he
so
did.
you can coach, you just won't.
He just coaches to the system. He relies on his system, and he doesn't coach to the game. You know, I
How are
saw
you the
Keisha put
best
up
in the
here
league out of timeouts, but can't
that he could
generate
that
offense during the game?
that Brunson can move the ball around. Well, guess what? Again, he can move the ball around if the coach allows him to. He's playing in the coach's system. And I know everybody's saying, oh, Brunson, just take over, just do it, just do it. No, no, nobody does that in the league. Nobody ignores their coach like that. Nobody does that.
This is not this is y'all. This is what y'all wanted. If I'm talking to the people who say we done with the '90s. This is what y'all wanted, because in the '90s you would see that. In the '90s you would see point guards who would be like, "I got this, coach." Just because, and also coaches trusted their players in the '90s to be able to do, because Bishop L's been calling for it from the beginning for Brunson to forget about the offense, forget about what Chips is calling, and run the offense on the floor. But J Mac, you're right. This is not today's NBA.
It's
Well,
not
if they
today's
don't,
NBA. And
if
and
if they don't, if they don't have, here's the thing. First of all, let me say this: nobody comes on my show calling for me. That's the first thing.
We don't care about this.
Okay?
let him let him
'Cause-
let him cook,
no, no,
Bishop.
no,
Let him
no, no,
cook.
no, 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 no.
Let him
Nobody
You
cook.
cares
know,
about Corey Ballard. Come
yeah,
on.
Let
but
him cook. Let
you
him
don't
cook,
get to
Bishop.
you don't get to come on my show talking about where's Butler. Your team was gone 2 rounds ago. Gone in a brand new arena where they're not even the freaking attraction. Nobody even comes to that arena. As a matter of fact, we're waiting for the next big WWE event to happen at that arena.
Was that
It's
in
not
2 weeks?
exactly. Nobody even cares about the Clippers. That's one. So don't come on my show
Money in the
asking
Bank from LA.
asking where's Butler. Okay, don't do that because we don't even know where the Clippers are right now. Y'all may not even make the playoffs next year.
Oh no, the Clippers are got to be in rebuild mode
Okay,
at this point.
They're
so
gonna
that's
gut that.
one.
They're gonna gut that
Yeah,
team.
they're gonna be
So
in
that's
rebuild mode at
one.
this point.
Two. I'm not even sure if I want Brunson to decide that he's going to just take over the game because clearly I think he actually does that. They just don't have any offensive plays. The
That's it,
system,
Butler.
the
Yes,
system,
bro.
the
The
system
system
that
is
the system.
non-existent.
No. Never mind Tibbs' system. Let's let's really get to the bottom of this 8-8-8 system that Jalen Brunson runs when he's on the court. It's an 8-8-8 system. 8 seconds, he runs and dribbles the ball. If it doesn't turn over, he takes the shot. Then if we get a rebound, it's another 8 seconds trying to figure out who else can get a shot. If nobody else gets that shot within that 8 seconds, then the ball goes back to Brunson for the next 8 seconds. It's 8 seconds Brunson, 8 seconds guessing, 8 seconds Brunson. Every single play. Every single play. And the only thing that stops it is 9 times out of 10, a turnover when Brunson dribbles with his head down and it winds up being a turnover. The strength of Brunson's game is not his point guard ability. The strength of Brunson's game is his footwork. It's his footwork. His footwork bails him out every single time because his footwork is impeccable. I can't even front on it. If his footwork is going and he's down there in the hole, whatever, the footwork is impeccable. But our team cannot win a championship with our point guard, who is a great point guard,
He's a shoot first point guard, though.
but
And I
he's a
don't know if we
shoot
need
first
that.
point guard. And as a result, unfortunately, nobody no we cannot win a championship. Brunson's not the Brunson can be a Brunson will be a incredible piece of a championship if we get a championship with Brunson on the team. But he's not the player that's going to lead us to the championship, and neither is this coach, the coach that's going to lead us to a championship. And the only way Brunson will have a major part in us going to the championship and winning it is if Brunson decides, I need to get the rest of my team involved. I need to make sure that everybody is clicking. We already know what Brunson can do. We know he can shoot the three. We know he can get down in the paint and use his footwork and everything. But those turnovers hurt us every
Are they
time.
gonna put? But let me say this: when we say run the offense,
Right, overseer.
Bridges has gotten off to slow starts in these playoffs in this round. OG has been non-existent for stretches in this round. Cat is searching for fouls that he's not getting.
Cat is searching for fouls that he's not getting. They're all, first of all, our entire team was doing crazy stuff on defense, like grabbing people, grabbing jerseys. Like, at the point that you got to play defense like that, you've conceded the game.
And that's my point. On the defensive end, they doing that. But on the offensive end, when we say run the plays with these five players, who can we rely on other than Brunson? Can you? And I'm asking an honest question. Can we rely on Cat really? Can we rely on? Can we rely on Bridges, OG? Can we rely on those guys?
No, you can't. You can't rely on any of them because the coach hasn't set up anything to for any of them to
That
actually
and
be relied on.
You can
that's my point.
they
And
can be
that's my
relied
point.
on. They can be relied on in a system that distributes the ball and
That
doesn't have a
distributes the
point
ball.
And
guard
that's
that
what I'm
dribbles
So
the ball
saying.
for
yeah,
17
you can't.
seconds.
You can't.
Right.
You can't rely on nobody on this team
And that's
because
right.
because the ball goes to Brunson and that's it.
I'm sorry,
And
Butler.
let me
Jesse,
can I
Jesse
speak
said
to
happy
something
birthday.
can I speak to something in the
Thank you,
chat?
Jess.
Can I speak to something in the chat that somebody said
Go ahead.
about the ball moving better when Brunson's not on the floor? Do y'all want to know why? Can I answer why that is?
Go right
You want
ahead.
to know? You want to know why that is? The reason why is because the coach has no choice but to rely on everybody on the floor. He has no choice at that point. There is no Jalen Brunson out there. So he has to rely on everyone to touch the ball out there. He does not have to do what the coach feels like. He doesn't have to do that when Jalen Brunson is on the floor. When Jalen Brunson is not on the floor, he does not have faith in one person to dribble the ball. No, I disagree with that, Corey Ballard. There's no plays run for the other players. What do y'all want blood from a rock? There's no plays run for those guys out there. Bridges is basically winging it when he's rolling through, and you see Bridges hitting those shots. Bridges is trying to find a hole in the defense and shoot the ball. That's not a play that's being run for him. He's making
Right.
that shot.
That's right. That's not offense that's created to get him a shot.
Right, he's creating that shot. You got to look at that. They're not calling that play for Bridges. Bridges getting the ball and he's finding a hole in the defense.
And it's usually he's getting a pass off of a cut or a back cut in order to get in the position to make that. Because listen, Bridges, the only time you'll see Bridges get the ball like that is if it's on a transition play and he's got somebody smaller than him on him, then they'll dump it down to him in the post. That's it. And Ant West, I saw your point last saying that they're not championship caliber. I completely disagree with you. This roster is based upon what today's NBA is. This is a championship caliber roster.
Now, we put them in a 90 setting. No, they're getting bounced in round one,
But-
and they're getting bounced in round one.
But
Maybe they might make it to round two, maybe because of their offense.
Based upon what today's NBA is, this is a championship caliber roster.
Yes,
and
I agree.
because of that, you have to understand. You have to look and see where is the biggest hole. The biggest hole is on the sidelines.
And I'm going to echo what you just said. You got to understand, we got a today's roster with a yesterday's coach, and that is a poor matchup. When you got a today's roster for today's NBA, but you got a coach from the 90s who won't evolve. That's what we're dealing with. It's plain and simple. Listen, he wouldn't even make the adjustment to tell Cat to move up and stop Halliburton from shooting the floater. Halliburton shot 4 floaters and made 4
in a
floaters
row.
and from the same exact spot, putting Cat in the pick and roll. There was no adjustment made.
So
there was no timeout.
they ran Hallie off the 3. Good job by the guards, but then he gets to the midi and you don't meet him there.
And you don't meet him at the foul line. You let him just he was basically on a layup line. He was shooting floaters on the layup line. That's the coach.
It's Pierre. It's not even so much that they needed Brunson to take over tonight. The coach wanted Brunson to put the team on his back tonight. And
Donald Corey Ballard, when you say stuff like that, it makes me wonder. You keep saying you play ball, but it makes me wonder when I see a quote like this. I'm gonna read it, or you could put it up, D-Lo. At some point, whether plays are made or not, whether plays are called or not, they are professional NBA players. See the floor, look for the mismatches. Again, what you're saying is that the guys should ignore the coach. That's what you're saying. And no coach is going to tolerate that. No coach he plays for, no coach you play for. I don't care if it's AAU.
My coach
I don't care if it's college. No coach is going to tolerate that. So stop that professionalism. Come on, man.
The difference,
Come on, Corey.
The difference for me was the fact that the coaches that I played for gave me their ear and allowed me the freedom to challenge what they were doing.
Coach.
No. I'm with you. I'm going to what Corey said. The freedom that we enjoyed is because I played the point. As a point guard, the freedom that I enjoyed was based upon the fact that during timeouts, during practices, if I knew the opponent we were going up against, I would talk to my coach before games and say, well, I know you're calling this, but I see this. If I see this, what are my options? Can I change the play? Yes. That's all I needed to know. Well, Tibbs is not that guy.
Well, okay. Now, Dwayne, you are an IQ basketball player.
Yeah. High IQ,
A
if I
high
do say so
IQ,
myself.
a high IQ basketball player. There's not many high IQ basketball
Oh,
players
in
in
the
the
league
country
now,
right
yeah,
now.
I agree with that 100%.
Skill,
That
skill. We
goes.
got more skill,
We
but
got more
not
skill and less
IQ.
IQ. Listen,
That's what we got.
I said that I watched Josh Hart this entire series, and
Huh?
oh, where you went? He done went offline again.
Hmm.
I love Josh Hart. Everybody knows how much I love Josh Hart. I was grateful that we got him. But Josh Hart, for everything that he does in terms of hustle, is not a high IQ ball player.
He jumps in the air
And
and
when
then
he's
passes the
tired, it's
ball.
even worse. As a defender, he'll have his man locked up and then reach in at the last minute and give up a stupid foul. And then you're not smart enough to realize that the referees realizing this. So you're helping the referees out. They see you reach, even if you get all ball, they're gonna call a foul because they knew this is what you're gonna do.
The second thing is Bishop.
Because you gotta know your referees the same way
You
you
got
know the opposing team.
you gotta look at the scouting report. You
You
gotta
got
know
to.
that, and that is up to the coaching staff too.
That's
They
why
have
I
to
asked,
do that.
what are they doing?
Exactly. That's up to the coaching staff. The second thing is I'm seeing here from that Ballard said was look for the hot hand. Well, the problem is again, it goes back to what we just said 5 minutes ago, because there's no fluidity to the offense and there's no plays called. You
Ain't no
can't
hot hand.
establish a hot hand.
Right, you
can't
can't get a hot hand
you
that ain't
can't
there.
get a hot hand. So the ball stays in Jalen Brunson's hands.
Because I hate to say it, Tibbs believes that he's the only one that can create his own shot.
Yes.
Although we've watched Mikal create his own shot, we've watched OG create his own shot, but he won't put the ball in either of their hands. We watch these guys create their own shots during the course of the season.
And you can't and listen, if you don't establish plays in
In training camp.
practice, it's gonna be kind
In
of hard to get
training
out there.
camp.
It's gonna be hard to get out there and win plays if y'all ain't used to doing that joint in practice. If y'all ain't used to doing that, if you even if you say, okay, I'm gonna ignore what the coach said and I'm gonna run a play. Well, what play are they gonna freaking run if they ain't never running no plays? That's where we are. You can't even run a play and wing it because he don't run plays for them. Yeah, am I making sense, fellas?
I don't even want to. I don't even want to talk about this person saying they were picking on Cat. Cause,
Right.
yo, yo,
They absolutely
And the drop coverage
listen.
caught up to us tonight.
They
Caught up to us.
absolutely they pick Cat apart. Willie Green joins the broadcast.
Oh man.
There we go. They absolutely picked on Cat. They picked Cat apart all series long.
Cat and
All
Jalen. They went at
series
both of them. Cat
long.
and Jalen. They went at both.
They asked Tibbs, what does he believe is the goal to help the team? He mentioned about trades. Trade who? This is
What?
not a this
He
is
wanna
not a
trade
bad
somebody.
basketball team. Trade him.
wait, whoa. He want to trade somebody?
Can we trade the coach?
No, we need to cut him. We don't need to punish the other team with Tibbs.
Can I make one point on that whole coaching thing?
Of course.
And I'm only going to use one analogy. Mike Malone was the coach of the Denver Nuggets from 2021 to 2025. Got fired this year midseason. Got a contract extension in
End of the
2020.
season.
Won a championship in 23. Lost in 7 games in 24, and got fired before the season ended this year. So I'm only saying that to say that there is a possibility that they will look into a coaching change if Tibbs is not willing to listen to real advice when it comes to offensive strategy. It's all things are. There's nothing that's not on the table right now as far as the Knicks, as far as a different voice, because they definitely need one. They definitely need one, and all things are possible, especially when it comes to this NBA that we deal with. Because you got players wanting to leave, and they got 5 and 6 year extensions. You got coaches getting fired in the middle of the season, and they have 3 and 4 years extension. And mind you, Mike Malone got a chip. So if he got a chip and he can get bounced, Tibbs is fair game, regardless of his status with the team and with the organization. He's fair game.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
he just signed that extension. That's the old.
Doesn't matter. Mike
Yeah,
Malone
hold
I
just
on.
signed
think
an
Willie is.
extension
I
3 years
think
ago.
Willie.
Doesn't matter.
I think
hear
Willie
you.
is saying it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I hear you, but again, I think what saves him is the fact that they're 1 year ahead of schedule. I think that's going to be their pitch to
J
keep him.
Mac. J Mac.
I want him gone. Hey,
It's
I
go ahead.
want him gone.
I get it. I get it. But my thing is this. My thing is this,
I'm
right?
not Davey Wright. Davey Wright is the Tibbs disciple.
But
I
my thing
wanted
is
him
this.
gone 3 years ago.
Yeah, but my thing is this, J Mac. The expectation in New York, for New York diehard New York fans, is to win a championship.
Of
Regardless
course it
of
is.
what you're ahead of schedule, you're behind schedule. New Yorkers don't want to hear that, especially diehard New York fans.
If George Steinbrenner owned the Knicks, nobody would be safe.
Nobody would be. Thank you. Nobody would be safe. You know what I'm saying? So for him to be ahead of schedule, no. You coach of the year the first year you came to the Knicks. There's
And-
no such thing as ahead of schedule.
And I get that logic, J Mac, but I gotta agree with Willie on this. Just the fact that from a logical standpoint, you would say team just got together, they're ahead of schedule, being in the ECF. No, you were built to win now.
I
that-
think he should be fired based off of game one alone. That's my opinion.
I think he should be fired based on the fact that he only was one game better than he was last year with the addition of a perennial All-Star in Karl Anthony Towns and another All-Star in Mikal Bridges.
Let
You
the
can't
church
choke
say
away
amen.
a 14-point lead.
You
with
were
3
one
minutes to
game
go at
better.
home.
You were 50-32 last year. You were 51-31 this year. You were one game better with a better roster.
Listen.
Make it make sense.
And
You know how I
struggled through
feel.
2 rounds.
You know how I feel. I pray
Yeah.
that they let him go. And everybody say Mike Malone. I say it's either Mike Malone or Jason Kidd. I'll take either one.
Well,
take either
Jason
one.
Kidd is not coming back to New York. That's out. That's out. New Yorkers don't want him back. Now I love
I'd
him
take
to
him.
Brooklyn Nets. Now
Well,
I love
Mike
him to Brooklyn Nets,
Malone-
but
Mike
he wasn't a fit
Malone
here.
is-
He wasn't a fit here.
Mike Malone is off of the Tibbs tree. Let's not forget that.
But Michael Malone is an offensive mind. He's off of his father's
I
tree.
get it.
Brendan
I get
Malone,
it.
who was an excellent NBA coach.
I get it. Listen,
Detroit.
I would love Mike Malone to be the
Detroit
coach.
guy.
Mike Malone is off of the Tibbs tree by extension. Brendan
Right.
Malone and Tibbs are together. Mike Malone is younger.
Right.
Listen, I believe that Mike Malone would get Towns to play defense. And I think he would play a more traditional lineup. I believe
Mike Malone got the best out of Nikola Jokic
yes, and I
And
believe
Jamal
that,
Murray.
and Jamal
believe-
Murray. I agree.
I believe that he would get Towns and Robinson
And
on the
Aaron
court.
Gordon, if we're being honest, and Aaron Gordon.
And let's think about something. You saw signs of it in the bubble. With
Yeah,
Mike Malone.
with Mike Malone. Yep.
It was coming. So for him to not only get the potential out of them in the bubble and then go the very year after that and win a championship speaks volumes to how he is with the players. And he allows his players on the floor to make in-game adjustments. There's sometimes during those series when he played against the Lakers, when he played in the finals against Miami, where there were in-game adjustments by the players. Mike Malone didn't do nothing. All he did was sit back and watch his team adjust to whatever style they had to adjust to. And that's the type of coach you need.
Dr. Harden, we're not talking about firing the wrong people. No, the coach needs to be fired. I'm sorry, I disagree with you, sir. The coach needs to be fired. Everybody on here agrees to that.
Yeah, absolutely. The coach needs to go because my thing is, if the Knicks are ahead of schedule, what are the Pacers?
Way ahead of schedule.
Right? This Pacer team is not better than the Knicks.
Well, we keep saying that, but are they not?
Are they
better
a bad matchup? But are they a bad matchup for the Knicks?
They are
They're-
better. They are
they're-
better coached.
They are a bad matchup because they're better coached.
Thank you.
They're better coached.
They are a very bad matchup.
Just
because they're
imagine.
better
I tell you what. Imagine if Tibbs makes the adjustment and pulls Brunson off the ball.
But my question is this, L. This team that you assemble for the exclusion of Cat between games 3 and game 5, right? Because he got the knee banged up, right? This team was fully healthy. Last year, we could have said a little bit because Indiana jumped on them because they felt they smelled blood in the water, and the Knicks were injured. They have no excuse this year.
I want to address my brother here, Mohammed Sheikh. He says, so we want to trade the coach who has built this culture of winning and taken us 2 games from the NBA Finals. This would be the old Nick way of doing things. The coaching carousel doesn't work. Run it back with Tibbs. We have a crappy start of the first half, then make it respectable. Can't co-sign the fire Tibbs narrative at all. What you're missing about this, Muhammad, is, as I stated, Tibbs has been here now 5 years.
That's right.
If this was the team 4 years ago,
He would have been gone.
He would have been gone.
if this was the team 4 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals, where they could have reached the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years ago, had it not been for a bad series against Miami by Julius Randle, coming off of an injury, mind you.
His ankle.
You know, that this was the same thing. They could have been in the conference finals then. So what we're seeing here now is a team that was they went back to the drawing board. And you're right. The old Nick way would have been to blow up the team. They didn't. They retooled it. They gave him players that he wanted. They gave him 2 of the best defensive two-way wings in the game. They brought in veterans like Cam Payne and Landry Shamet who have conference finals experience. And this guy didn't play them. This guy did not do the things that were necessary. They upgraded their roster this year.
He played
and
them
was
too late.
1 game better than they were last year in the regular season.
Because he did not play this squad.
He played them too late in this series.
Exactly.
No.
He
Let's really.
He drafted a rookie point guard that could give Jalen Brunson some rest, and he did not play him.
Tyler Kolek can get in the lane when he feels like it. He proved that.
In his sleep, and he did not play him.
And Tyler
Why?
Kolek
Because
makes everybody around him better.
He don't trust rookies.
Only last rookie he trusted was Derrick Rose, and we see how that turned out.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
And to give insult to injury, he decided to put Kolek in with 2 minutes left in the game, knowing the game was out of hand.
No, Pastor Harden, I love you, big bro, but no, the coach didn't miss a shot, but it's the coach's job to put you in the position to succeed. If the Knicks had a bad shooting night, I would say that's the issue. But guess what? The Knicks actually shot 47% in this game, which in the NBA is above average.
That's right.
They couldn't make stops. That's the problem.
They couldn't stop anybody, and the coach didn't do what it was necessary to put his team in positions to make stops. They once again, they scored enough points to win. 108 is about the league average.
And let's
you
think
can't
about
give
But
up
you
30
gave up 125. You gave up a 34-point third quarter. That was the game right there.
And you can't give up 34
guys
points
win there for
on
things
turnovers. You
Who
can't
are-
give up
who are-
34. You can't give up 34 points on turnovers. They
And who
gave
are
up
guys winning there
34
for things
points on
with?
turnovers.
Thomas Bryant scored 10 points in the second and third quarter, shooting 4 for 4, 3 for 3 from 3-point range.
Three corner threes on like every other possession.
3 straight possessions. He got a 3-point shot off and made him.
So Harden sounds like Davey Wright right now. Because at the point that you see this lead going away, because did the coach blow game 1? Yes, he did. He made
did
no
blow it.
defensive
He
adjustments.
absolutely did.
He
yes.
made no adjustments, and when
Al,
they went
for
on that
2.5
run, he
for
didn't
2.5
call a
minutes, you sit on the
timeout.
basketball. You could sit on the basketball for 2.5 minutes with a 14-point lead. And
That's
you
the
didn't do
time.
it.
That's the time you tell Drake Jalen to dribble the ball into the ground.
Right. You didn't sit on it. You
That's
decided
when you
wanted
say
to go for the knockout.
dribble the 24-second clock out and then
Out.
defend on the other end. That's all you got to do.
Take
Slow
time
this
off the
game
clock.
down. Hit the boards. If they miss, they don't. Because let's go back to game 1. 3 of those Naismith threes were on offensive rebounds.
Sure was.
Sure was.
Let's call it what it is.
Broken plays.
Come on. This is us here, y'all. Y'all not talking to novices.
Right. Come on, man. It's no way you give up game one and expect for Indiana to come out and not think about getting 2 in the Garden.
Because of the way that it happened.
Bishop designate, my cousin Chris Burton, what up?
The way that it happened, the Knicks was shell-shocked. Let's just call it like it is. They were shell-shocked after game one and never recovered. They never recovered. And they let Pascal
You're right.
Siakam, they let Pascal Siakam look like Michael Jordan.
Let's go back to coaching. In game 5, Pascal Siakam was starting to get a little going in game 5.
He brought
Foul
in
trouble,
Precious.
forced Precious Achiuwa to have to come in the game. Pascal Siakam had 2 turnovers and 2 missed shots against Precious Achiuwa in 4 minutes.
But
We didn't see him again.
But to his credit,
Look,
he made
Pascal
adjustments.
Siakam took advantage of his matchups. That's what you're
That's
supposed to
right.
do. That's
What's
what.
Precious-
But that's
what's-
why the coach is supposed to let me put somebody in the game who can actually potentially stop this guy.
But
Right.
guys, it's because he's coaching to a system. His system doesn't allow him, or his system is not created to go 10, 11 deep on the bench. That's not coach Tibbs' system.
Pascal Siakam got 31 tonight.
His coach Tibbs' system does not allow or allow for going 8 to 9 deep on the bench. It does not. That's not. He was uncomfortable bringing in the bench, even though he was doing it. He was uncomfortable doing it, but he had to. He had no choice. He didn't want to do it.
Was
Let's
campaign
call
hurt?
it like it is. He
Was
didn't want to
Campaign-
go
was-
deep on that bench.
Was campaign hurt tonight?
No,
No.
Campaign hasn't been hurt the last couple games. He wasn't shooting well, so he went to DeLon Wright. Okay, I'm fine with that. That's not a big deal. But it's a closeout game. Everybody's on the table.
Everybody.
And but Cam is a ball stopper. Cam is a defensive player.
Cam was having issues on the offensive end.
He was bumbling the ball, unforced turnovers coming up the floor. Nobody was even on him, and he was dribbling off his foot.
But as I've
falling
been saying
down.
all season, Cam is a rhythm player. He's used to consistent minutes, and then
Wait.
you get in this guy's system where you don't get any consistent minutes. How
But
do
I
you
think-
expect to stay ready?
Yeah,
So-
but let's think about something. This ball movement from the Indiana Pacers kind of killed the Knicks too, because they were moving around way more unusual. Like they don't usually move around like that. The Knicks are used to having people standing in front of them predominantly the whole game. But the ball
Right,
movement kind of killed them.
because most of the teams that the Knicks face have a ball dominant player.
Right.
Jason Tatum in the second round, Cade Cunningham in the first round.
Right.
Those are but Tyrese Halliburton is not that ball dominant player.
Right.
So the
The
Indiana
ball
Pacers
movement,
again,
ball movement killed them.
well coached
And-
by Rick Carlisle,
and they
but
make-
this is why you've got to get extra bodies in the game.
And they score whether
gotta
it's
get
on
fresh
a
bodies.
whether it's on a make or miss. They coming up the floor. They pushing the ball. It's showtime. So they coming.
It's going to be interesting to see what they come up with Oklahoma City, because they can match the Pacers' speed.
Yeah, but
and
they're
they-
gonna get killed.
And they can go 11 deep as well.
Yeah, but they're gonna get killed.
Pastor Dave ain't coming
They're gonna
on.
get killed.
Who,
Pastor
Indiana?
Dave ain't coming
You
on.
think
Yeah,
Indiana's
I
going to get
saw-
killed?
They're gonna get killed.
Yo,
Yeah,
I don't believe.
Because
I don't-
yeah, OKC defends for 48 minutes.
Yes.
I don't believe. I'm responding to this person here.
Muhammad, that's my boy.
Yeah, I don't believe it's going backwards if you fire this coach.
No,
This coach-
I
This
agree with you,
coach has had 5 seasons. Yo,
right. This
man,
is not a one and done thing. That would be the old Nick way. He's had 5
and
years.
to be honest with you, Jay, I agree with you when you say that this Knick team was ahead of schedule, right? But I think that was on a chemistry standpoint. Not, we knew that chemistry
Nah,
wise.
Pierre, they were 11-6 during that stretch. Brunson was out for 17 games. They were 11-6. They were 1 game better because the coach is terrible. Go ahead, El. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out.
We knew that chemistry wise they needed to gel, put it together, and that would be the thing that could possibly set us back a year. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm not sure if we are
Love you, bro.
really I'm not sure if we're really ahead of schedule at the point that last season, if this team is healthy,
They're in the ECF.
they're in the ECF. If this team is healthy last season, they're in the ECF.
Yeah,
So,
but
so
don't
the
forget the Knicks pressed the reset button on their roster when they traded Julius and brought in Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. So
well,
that's why I say
I'm
they
that's
have. You're looking at the
I agree,
totality
Muhammad.
of
That was a bad call
you're
because
looking
his foot
at
was
the
not out of bounds.
totality.
I want to say something, and I know D'Lo.
You're looking
I
at
know
the
D'Lo will
totality of
probably
how
hold
long
on.
concur with
Tip's
me.
been here.
Hold on, Will.
Go
No, I
ahead, go ahead.
agree with you. I agree with you, Jay. That's why I said I think it was more so on the chemistry end. I don't know if it was on the expectation end
I disagree with that.
because I believe that the front office pulled the I believe that they pulled the trigger on that trade because they expected it to bring us to a certain place. So on one
We were
hand,
built to beat the Boston Celtics.
we were
Absolutely.
built to beat the Boston Celtics, which means we were built. They had every expectation for us to
Going
get
to
to
the
the
championship.
ECF.
Only reason why I say I can agree with that about 60%, and D'Lo can probably concur. When Jalen was catapulted to a superstar status, as New Yorkers should do, and as players with that type of offensive skill should be considered, right? The expectation grew because now you want to put players around this guy because now you've got a real chance of winning a championship.
Right.
And that's
And
what the Knicks
you
went out and
figured
did.
that Cat and Mikal were the missing pieces.
Right. And that's where the expectation has risen. So now that you created a culture where now you have a superstar, you have complementary players, you have a big that not only can dominate on the inside if he really takes his time to really play inside, but you have a big that can dominate any center or any big in the Eastern Conference because there's no real bigs in the Eastern Conference. So this should be a cakewalk for Cat, literally, right? There has to come a moment when upper management, whether it's Dolan, whether it's Leon Rose, say, listen, we got all of this fuel right here. We need a lighter to ignite them to another level. And Tom Thibodeau, given his credit for 5 seasons, has kept them minimalized.
Listen, I will take nothing away from Tibbs. He changed the culture.
Right.
Absolutely.
But there has to be another level. There has to be.
Yes.
And he's not
Agreed.
it.
He's
And
not
it's,
that.
it's not
Yep.
to
further
knock
than
him.
that.
It's not to knock him. But let's think about the history. He has gotten teams to a certain point, and that's their ceiling. That's his ceiling. And it's okay.
Well,
Mike
for the first
D'Antoni is
for
a
the
winning coach,
for the
but he's
first
not a
time in Tibbs
championship level
He's not a
coach.
championship coach.
for the first time in Tibbs' career, he's gotten past the second round.
No,
Well,
he
did one
was
other
in the
time.
he was in the
mean
conference
he's
finals
safe,
with
bro.
Chicago once
But that
before.
doesn't
He
mean
did it in
he's safe.
Chicago once.
Yeah, he did in Chicago once.
Right, but that doesn't mean that his job security.
No,
is
Chris
safe.
Paul is too old.
Chris Paul,
Will we sign Chris Paul off the bench? I would not.
No.
absolutely not. No, I think honestly,
Chris Paul still thinks he can start, so no.
I think we need to. I think we need to explore. We need a coach that's willing to explore non-position basketball, especially when it comes to that backcourt. You got to switch it up every now and then. Jalen has to be able to play off the ball sometimes
For
as much as
longer stretches than 1 or 2 possessions.
yeah,
You know,
he's
and
got
let
it
me,
because
let me throw a name out here, and it might be far fetched. I would not be. I would not. I would even look into a guy like, honestly, and he's in a losing situation, and I know it probably will never happen. You get a guy like LaMelo Ball here that can not only stretch out a defense, but could take Jalen Brunson off the ball. A guy like that, a young guy.
I feel you on that, but we can't get Melo. But along those lines,
You can get
I'll take
Lonzo.
his brother. Exactly.
get Lonzo.
I'll take his brother
You understand?
because he's a plus defender.
Right. And he's a big point guard.
He's a big point guard. He takes Jalen off the ball, and
doesn't
he
mind
becomes the
giving the ball.
facilitator.
And he can distribute, yes. So those
So
are the type of
he now
tweaks you
guards
can make.
Cade Cunningham. He guards Tyrese
Now, can
Halliburton,
you can
and he
you
takes Jalen
imagine?
off the ball and allows
Right,
Jalen to just cook.
and Jalen coming off of those curls, Jalen coming off those curls, getting the catch and
He,
shoot
So
would
Lonzo
be
Ball will organize an offense.
well,
that
Yes.
would be lethal.
let's think about something though. But that comes with you have to change the voice in the locker.
Yes. Because he's not gonna play. He's not gonna
He's
play
not gonna
for
play
Tibbs. He's
for
not gonna play for
Tibbs,
Tibbs.
bro.
I agree with
Because
that.
Tibbs is a slow down guy. Now imagine him thinking about, I just left Chicago where the offense is stagnated through Vucevic. He can't come here and think that he's gonna come into the same scenario. They're gonna want to. The Knicks want to run. The old style of Eastern Conference basketball is over. Teams want to run, and this is what happened. The Knicks score a basket in this series, and they get ran out of the building off the inbound. Teams want to run. And they got to be able to keep up. Yes, they scored 106. Or what is it? Scored 107 tonight?
108.
108.
Teams want to run. There's no defense only happens in the middle of the series, not when it's a closeout game. People trying to put their foot on the gas.
That's
I said
exactly
it in
what
the
Indiana
chat, I
did tonight.
said, once we went to the fourth quarter down double digits, I said now it's going to be a track meet to the end. And
Yeah,
that's
but
exactly what
but
they
at that
did.
point the game was already out of hand.
Yeah. I said now it's gonna be a track meet and the Knicks are not gonna catch them. That's it.
The issue with this Jamel Clark is the fact that it's impossible because of the cap situation.
Yeah.
It's impossible. There's no amount of money you would have to you would still have to gut your roster in order to
Yeah.
get Giannis.
Yeah, you
That
can't.
second apron, people don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand how the second apron works.
Yeah,
You cannot get Giannis without trading Cat for him.
And
exactly.
Brunson.
No. You could keep Brunson because he
You can
took less
keep
money.
Brunson because
But
he's making less
you're
money.
not gonna keep you're but the big money is OG and Cat right now. Those
Yeah.
are the $50 million guys. Well,
It's Cat and
Cat's at
OG.
50. OG is at like 30 something.
It's Cat and OG. You might be
Per
able to
year.
retain. You might be able to retain OG, but I think you would.
But you would have to
also-
trade Cat.
You would
and-
have to trade. You would have to
And to me,
trade Cat.
Giannis and Cat are redundant. I wouldn't pair them.
You would have to trade Cat and either Josh Hart or Mikal Bridges.
Oh, but you know what? Let's think about something too. Even though that is absolutely accurate. Well, let's think about something too.
Sam Casella's coach, Keisha, I can see it. I could see it.
The league is still the league is not even back into that new CBA as of yet until the following year, after the first year of NBC, right? So you can teams if their upper management is smart, they can have players defer money. Will the players go for it?
But the problem is those are contracts that are already set. You could defer money on new deals.
Right.
These guys all have current deals, and they're in the middle of current deals. So that's why it wouldn't work with the
Yeah, it's not like the
second
NFL where you can go in and restructure.
Now,
the deal.
now, don't get me wrong. The Knicks have the cap guru, Brock Aller. Brock Aller is the guy who is able to get Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love together in Cleveland, so and make it work. So he
Right.
is the cap guru. The Knicks have him, but yeah, that Giannis thing wouldn't work.
I hope y'all right. I want Tibbs out of here. Y'all know me. Y'all know I've been one of the loudest people for yelling. Get rid of Tibbs. Get rid of
Oh,
Tibbs.
I would
Get rid of
definitely
Tibbs.
swap Giannis for Cat. Honestly, tomorrow.
They're not going to do that.
Then no, but Joel Clark makes a good. Listen. I am not against that. Giannis is available, and listen. The groundswell is his landing spots are New York, Boston. Or who's the third team? I forgot. It was another Eastern Conference team. Those are the landing spots. It's going to be one of those three teams.
Probably Miami.
And quiet as it's kept, if the Knicks are willing to deal, they have the assets to make it happen. Forget about draft picks. They have the assets on the roster to make it happen.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna run this back with this same squad.
Problem
running
is,
it back,
problem
bro.
is they would
They
probably have
running
to
it
trade
back.
Tyler Kolek, which I would hate.
They running this back, and unfortunately, I hope you guys are right. They running it back with the coach too.
Pierre,
right
that would have been great
right now, the
5 years ago, but that
situation's too
Mark
high.
Jackson ship has sailed. We talked about that. That Mark Jackson
Yeah, I
ship
didn't
has
even
sailed.
listen. Mark Jackson's not coming here. It's over.
Mark Jackson couldn't coach this team.
No, not currently constructed.
No, Mark Jackson needs he needs an OKC type team. He needs a young team that he can mold.
Mark
Right.
Jackson needed this team 3 years
3 years
ago.
ago, exactly when they were
Right.
first getting together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think you bring Mark Jackson. You need a get him. You need a get them over the hump kind of guy here. You need a Pat
Let's
Riley
leave the whole Mark
type.
Jackson thing alone anyway, because the league is blackballing him anyway. He's never going to coach again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's never going to coach.
But you need somebody like what Pat Riley did some years ago when he got to the end of that season and fired Stan Van Gundy and said, "I got it," and then they won the championship the next year.
No, they won it that same year.
No, they
Oh, yeah,
won
he-
it.
They won it that same year when he took over. He took them all the way to the finals and won it.
Or
Yeah,
did.
because he did. He
you-
fired
you-
Van Gundy mid-season. You're right.
Yeah, you need that kind of a move. You need that level of a coach, and I think Mike Malone, who has a championship coach, Mike Malone works. Who else is out there that works?
Jeff Van Gundy is on the bench in L.A.
Jeff Van
Nobody
Gundy. Jeff Van Gundy.
chill.
Jeff Van Gundy is where he needs to be right now as a defensive coordinator, and he's done a great job for Ty Lue. If Ty Lue wants to come east, I'll take Ty Lue.
I would love Ty Lue.
Because
Guys,
Ty Lue is not afraid to challenge his players.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? Becky Hammond even said it herself that Jalen was going to win this way. She said it herself when the team got assembled. As much as she believed that Jalen was a superstar, she said it's entirely impossible for him to win this way because he's too small of a guard to kind of hold all the weight. He had to get more pieces around him, and even with those pieces, he still was holding a lot of the weight. So for him, I know he's like,
Oh, no, we don't want
now,
Giannis in Boston.
him
That's the
getting-
last.
him getting bumped was like grace for him because like I did all of this and we still didn't get where we wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? So there's got to be more, and I truly think he's going to demand more, not just out of the players that are currently constructed, but the top office got to bring a little bit more in. That's why I think he missed Dante so much this year because Dante was a guy that was able to get his own shot.
And Dante admitted it. Dante
said.
said it in his closing press conference. Like
Right.
he missed being in New York because he said he said it himself. He said I knew where I was going to get my shots in New York.
Right.
He said I knew where to be if Jalen got into the paint. I knew I was going to get
Exactly.
my shots in the corner. I knew that if there was going to be a curl where I was going to come off the top. I knew if there was going to be a dribble handoff between me and Mitch, and
There's
I
just
would
some
be able to
players
get
you
my
don't-
shots off of
you
that.
don't- There's
He
just
do.
some players you don't sacrifice, regardless of what kind of trade is in front of you. No, regardless of what kind of money cap space you'll save. There are just two players that are too important to the continuity of your team that you don't get rid of, and he was one of them. And it
I
proved
think
itself this
Leon
year.
Rose. I think Leon Rose underestimated
Right.
that part of the trade. I think he
Well,
underestimated.
that's the chemistry portion that he thought. I guess he thought they would. He built the talent, but it was clear all season long that the chemistry just was not there.
And his grit and his toughness on the defensive end, getting into people. He would have got into Halliburton.
Oh, he would have. You saw what he did to Halliburton last year,
Right. So
he
it's like,
frustrated the crap out of
why
Halliburton
you not
last
paying
year.
attention to detail and just we this is a cap move. Well, that cap move cost you a trip to the finals now.
and I'm gonna say this
Or
too.
maybe it didn't. You could have said you can have anybody else, but you can't have Dante.
Why the coach gave Halliburton all that room, man? Nobody pressed him. The way they was pressing Jalen, why didn't we return the favor?
you still asking questions about this coach, Jay. You already know the answer.
Well, let's think about something. Number one, they playing in Indiana.
I'm
so you know
sorry, you're right.
it's
You're
not
right.
Well, the second
You're right.
part of that is you put Mikal Bridges as your primary defender on him. Mikal Bridges is while his length is important. and
He's light. He's light.
I was trying to say it nicely,
And
but
and that's not what I want to say. cut it that short and say he's the light.
Right.
He and he's an excellent defender, but he's not the guy that you're gonna put the
When
body
they
on
set
somebody.
those screens, he's nowhere to be
You
found.
to me,
He's gone.
you'd have been better off putting Josh Hart on him to start the Halliburton to start the game, because at least Josh Hart will body up.
Yeah,
You're
but
right, brother.
he disappeared.
Listen,
He disappeared these last
I'm
three
Oh,
just
Josh
games.
Hart was
frustrated.
terrible in this series. He was
I'm just
absolutely awful.
frustrated, man. I'm just
He was
frustrated.
absolutely awful.
And you're right. I'm asking coaches a question about the coach still. You're right, but it's just I'm just angry. I'm
Guys,
angry. I'm
guys,
angry.
guys, listen.
I'm angry, bro.
Before we get there, we had a good season.
We did.
We had
We
a good
did.
season. Um,
But New
we
York is championship or bust.
we made it. We made it to
So
the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately, we didn't get the job done. Winning Game 5 did give us hope. It looked like we was going to be able to at least push it to 7. Um,
so let's go through it. Current the free agents that are on our current roster. Who stays, who goes? I'm gonna let y'all decide. So Precious Achua, Cameron Payne, DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, Ariel Huckporty, PJ Tucker. Even though PJ signed a 2 deal, it was an option, so he's technically a free agent. Anton Watson, Kevin McCullough, and Marjon Beauchamp.
Campaign is gone. He's leaving. He's not. He doesn't want him to be signed.
Everybody
Campaign is
but
out.
Precious. Everybody but Precious. And Tyler Kolek.
But Tyler Kolek is under contract. He on his rookie deal.
He's on his rookie deal.
Everybody but him and Precious.
I would bring back Landry Shamet.
Nah.
Landry
But what?
Shamet
He's
don't
not
want
being
to.
used.
That's
You don't. Nobody.
that's cap room space to bring back Dante.
Nobody's coming. Yeah, nobody's coming to this team knowing that they're gonna get buried on
Oh,
the
I
bench.
agree, Pierre. Halliburton is
Yeah.
light too. I agree.
Nobody's gonna come to this team knowing they're gonna get buried on the bench, because we have a league now where guys are willing to be the 9th, 10th, and 11th player off the bench. We're literally in a league now. The league is in a place where guys don't mind coming off the bench.
Bro, it goes back to what I said earlier. We got a today's roster with a yesterday's coach. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We have a today's roster with a yesterday. It's like trying to go. It's like you got dial-up still. You go on
Modern
the
roster,
internet with dial-up.
a modern roster with an antiquated coach.
Yes.
We got broadband instead of fast internet.
We got dial up.
That's what we got.
We got dial up.
That's what we got. That's what we got.
We got that old, LOL will come on. Yeah.
That's what we got. Yes. Yes. You got
We got
hell. That's
dial-up.
what we got. That's what we got.
There's
Guys.
clearly a coaching disconnect, not just in New York, but there in a couple of other places as well. But I could say, as much as I do troll the Knicks, and I won't do that, because I truly had them getting to the finals because of the journey they took. You know what I'm saying? But for them, you can't for no reason under the sun. You cannot give up an Eastern Conference Finals game, and you are the home team. You cannot.
Not in game 1 anyway.
Both games you don't give up, because number
Well,
one, honestly,
Reggie Miller, I think Reggie Miller said it. Reggie Miller said it in the game. He was like, "This series comes down to game 1.
Yes.
This series comes down to game 1. You give away a 14-point lead with 2 minutes left in the game.
It's an AOL.
It's AOL, bro.
Yo, guys, I'm back to preaching. I took the month of May off at my church. I'm back to preaching tomorrow. I gotta go. I'm tired.
Well, tomorrow starts my 20th pastoral anniversary.
20th pastoral
20
anniversary for
years.
J Mac.
Congratulations, J Mac.
Bishop D-Lo releases his book at 12 midnight
10 minutes.
tonight.
Archbishop will be preaching for me tomorrow morning. Archbishop Figueroa.
Oh, that's
Yes.
gonna be fun.
Oh
That's
yeah,
gonna be fun.
very, very fun. I spoke to him today.
It's gonna be fun.
He's excited,
Nice.
to say the least.
Nice.
So let me give everyone the rundown. First of all, we want to thank you all for rocking with us on this journey this season with the Knicks, of course, and with the Church Guys Sports Show podcast. We will be taking the week off this week, kind of regroup, give ourselves an opportunity to kind of decompress from this NBA season, and
Thank
we
you.
will be back next Tuesday in our regular 8 p.m. slot. So that you will rejoin us on Tuesday, the 9th of June. So book it. We're back on Tuesday, June 9th, 8 p.m. Lot going on in the WNBA. The Liberty are 6-0 and looking like a juggernaut.
Yeah,
They're going for
steamrolling
7-0
everybody.
tomorrow night. They've been blowing out everybody. Caitlin Clark tried to give them a run in one game, but they pulled that one out too. So the Liberty we're going to be going for 7-0. A lot going on in the WWE. A lot of changes, of transitions, things heating up as we head toward Money in the Bank. Rikishi had a lot to say about his son being in this tag team match at Money in the Bank, and I kind of agree with him. I gotta go there real quick. I kind of agree. He is the world champion. Like, he doesn't need a program with other people in it. There should be people. He should be allowed to build his legacy as a champion.
But
I
let me
agree.
say this. Can I add? But let me say
Of
this.
course.
You got to understand something. That championship that he's holding is the secondary championship.
That's true.
That world title, as beautiful as it looks, as nice as it looks, is the secondary championship in WWE. It is called the world title, but we know what the real title. The real title is what John Cena's holding.
The
And that was
undisputed
evident when they
champion.
went face to face on was it Raw or SmackDown? When they went face to face, it was obvious there's a pecking order.
There is absolutely a pecking order.
So I understand Rikishi, but Dad, he's the secondary champion. Just
Right,
for the
and
record.
this ain't tell Rikishi this ain't your WWE. This
Right.
is different now.
He's the secondary champion.
Right.
Just be glad he's got a world title
Right,
around his
nigga was
waist.
gonna get this stink face right now.
Yes.
So we have a lot to talk about there. Yankees are in LA getting pummeled this weekend. It has not been good at all. But we'll talk more about baseball in 2 weeks. Until then, the season ends for the New York Knicks. We appreciate you all. As always, it's still orange and blue skies. That ain't never going to change because we are Knicks fans. But we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Have a great night, everyone, and have great services tomorrow. We'll see you soon.
Yo, this is the state of emergency. Check. I need all my Knicks fans right now to grab your jerseys, your popcorn, your sodas, whatever you gotta do to get ready for this game. I don't care if you're a cheerleader, an athlete, a couch potato. We're here to restore the feeling. Matter of fact, how do you say it from New York? What I say from New York? Hey yo, let's go Knicks! Hey yo, I bring that New York energy. Talking 42nd Street, alley hoop finger roll. Ain't nobody checking me. Crossover through the legs, step back, hit a three. Still up in the hood, but got big baller tendencies. She just trying to get flued out to John Kennedy just to see the Knicks play, make a couple memories. New York, if you ain't from here, don't pretend to be. And if you ain't rocking with the Knicks, you an enemy. Yeah, look at us, whole city is wild. This is New York, why y'all ever counted us out? Any game we attend, yeah, we taking it now. Fast break on the court, all up and down. Lead a garden in the pigsty, yeah, we get it on this side. Bacon, egg, and cheese or the lobster mac with the ribeye. Either way, we winning the overtime if we get tired. Get it with the team, yeah, that's just something we live by. Hey, yo, first quarter in, we gon' turn it up. Gotta warm up first, then we taking it dub.